When you first start off, you're thinking about moving this glass around, like, you heat it up and you roll it on a pipe and try to control it. But you think about the material, you think about the weight of it and how you're trying to force it with tools. It's a lot later on in the process where we had teachers even tell us, you're not working with glass, your medium is heat. You have to think about it differently, and it's only going to move where it's hottest.
Since we get such clean water from the mountains, and we're the first major city to get the water that comes out of the Rockies, we get this great water. We should really be putting it back in a condition that is suitable for the rest of the people that are going to be taking this water. It was interesting working with and talking to a lot of the employees at each of the different facilities that we visited. I think they were sort of surprised that we were interested.
We were trying to look at like what level of the water system we wanted to pick, because you can get into every different component. There's installation, construction, there's piping, there's all the hardware that goes into this as well. So the feedback coming in was they talked about a wide diversity of species. They talked about different parts of the process we could illustrate and different things that might illustrate the actual stages of water treatment. It's as much a demonstration of glass as it is an attempt to do an impression of that creature. There's certain creatures that are more friendly. They call it, I think it's floc, F-L-O-C.
Okay.
These are the activated creatures that are living in the water and process some of the,
These are the microorganisms inside the bioreactor.
And they culture them
Like
specifically.
a fine wine.
Yeah.
And so some of these are very benevolent. You're trying to keep them in healthy condition because they're going to keep the water cleaned regularly. And then there's the things that you're really looking to not see in there.
They all had their favorite microorganism, and they sort of personify them as well, right? Like they look at them and already have this sort of emotional connection. And it was great to be able to then look under the microscope and see some of these. They're counting how many good microorganisms they see and if they see any bad ones, which then is a problem. And it was amazing how much they really did see the bad microorganisms as villains. Like at first when we said we were going to sculpt some of them, they're like, oh no, because those are the things that they spend their whole year and they hope they don't see any of them, right?
So this is it's a bit of an abstraction of one that we were looking at called Archella amoeba. And so the view you get in the microscope is this kind of halo shell of the creature with all these little kind of cellular looking organelles inside. And for us as glassblowers, I saw this opportunity to use what we call marini, which is little cross sections of glass. It's like a cane of glass that's pulled and then chopped like sushi.
There was definitely a number of tries in the studio with each different one to see how it could be made. But and I think that description of gymnastics is a great analogy of how the process then translated from being at the treatment plant and then coming back to our studio and going out for coffee and figuring out okay, how are we gonna make this happen, and how can we make the pieces exciting? Because ultimately we're hoping that when people look at these, it makes them want to question and understand, okay, how does this water system work?
It's something they identify with because it's their own work, and they're seeing it in this different lens. So, they kind of went after it without even saying things in some cases, and that kind of fascination is really what we were hoping for. That kind of it's like a kid on Christmas morning, right?
Yeah.
And when you see that in people, when they react to it,
there's an intrinsic draw.
Yeah.
Well, and then they have their own suggestions and comments. Once they digest it, they're like, oh, and then you could do this and this and this. And that feels like you got something figured out.